Hello, you beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle. We talk about things life, love, spirituality, law of attraction, and all of that juicy goodness. We are here for our midweek reading, and it's a full moon reading. There's a full moon on the 7th, which is tomorrow. And I don't know about you guys, but I felt the squeeze on Sunday. Around 1 p.m. on Sunday, I was crying for about an hour, feeling like nothing good ever happens to me, and it was my ego coming out, and I just felt so squeezed that like everything in my life was falling apart and I was on the wrong path and I shouldn't have YouTube and I should have stayed teaching. It's like all of these stories are popping up out of nowhere, and that's how I know there's a full moon around the corner, because that's not like me and that's not my soul talking to me. I am always on the right path. I'm always exactly where I need to be. No decision is a mistake. Everything is here for us. And when we start to question anything, you know that that's your mind looking and searching for a way to kind of poke you and bring you back down out of your joy. And I always have this vision of there's like two scales, not scales, but how do I see it in my head? It's almost like an underworld and an above world. And like we're in the middle, right? We're neutral in the middle. But when we're in fear, when we're in worry, that hour I had where I just felt like nothing good was going to happen and I was going to repeat all the old mistakes I've made, I was dropping down into the underworld and it was sucking me in. It's like a wave was pulling me under. And normally I'm up here. I'm like so trusting and being like, everything's going to be fine, Michelle. As soon as you start to drop down, pause all thought, take a nap, take a bath, go for a walk. And when you get out of your head and stop thinking the thoughts, that's when you come out of that wave and you come out from under the water and you rise to the top and you're back in that love, kindness, compassionate frequency. And the more we can rise to that frequency, that's when everything becomes easier. And a lot of people consistently live down here. They consistently live in negativity, fear, doubt, never trusting themselves, always beating themselves up. They always think that they're on the wrong path. They'll have 2 good days and then they go right back down. And my job is to help you see what is bringing you back down. What thoughts, what stories. I only had that crying bout for about an hour because I know that that's not truly who I am and how I want to spend my day. I allow it to be there. I let the tears surface. I'm like, okay, there's a little bit of fear and doubt. This is a manifestation energy too. My body is purging something to allow space for something new to come in. And I do feel like a brand new person. So this full moon is that. It's you having these minutes, hours, days where you feel squeezed. You feel like you have to make a decision. You have to move. You have to leave this relationship, and everything's happening all at once. And it's really just a time to just sit, observe the stories that are coming up. What are your thoughts telling you? What lies are they telling you? I've been reading a book called The Neville Collection, which is all Neville Goddard's teachings. It's all of his books in one. It is incredible. He is telling story after story about how people are using the stories that they're creating in their mind, their imagination, to co-create whatever they want. He's telling stories about how somebody wanted to buy a house and the real estate agent was like, there's no way you're getting this house. This lady's not budging. We've tried for years. She lives on a 2-acre plot. You're not getting her land. Well, this husband and wife went to bed every single night imagining themselves in the home. They would imagine their hand touching the railing. They would imagine a warm fireplace going. And then they went to the real estate office and they said, please place this offer for us. And the realtors all walked out and they were like, no. And the guy like slammed his hand and was like, you place offers. This is what you do for a living. Place this offer and let's just see what happens. And the woman accepted the offer. She accepted half of the offer to split her land in half and to give them the one house and 1 acre, which is all that they could afford and all that they wanted. And they imagined it and it happened. And it makes me think back to the full moon energy and all these stories that we're creating. Are you those real estate agents? Are you an example of somebody who just doesn't believe anything good could ever change? Or someone so stubborn, they're like, no, this is never going to happen. This person's not going to change. They're not going to do this. Or are you a believer in magic? And are you a believer in using your imagination, using this magnet inside of you to call in whatever you want to call in. And I just filmed a video stating all of these stories. So be sure to go watch that this week. It just is story after story how people are using their imagination to create a reality. Even something as simple as being in a movie theater and having annoying, loud groups behind you and sitting there and thinking, I am the group behind me and I'm moving. I'm leaving the theater. Or I'm sitting there so quietly and you just start imagining yourself as them and changing the behavior. And it works. So these are all the teachings that we need to start looking at and start practicing if we want change in our life. And a lot of the times it's what story's coming up, and it happens sometimes around full moons. We get shown the shadow. What shitty stories are we telling ourselves? That we're never going to get the house and we're never going to have money, or this business is going to fail because it failed before. No, we are done with that. We are creating new stories. We're using our imagination. We're trusting the process, and we are persistent. The one thing about that couple that manifested that house and that property, they did not give up. Okay? They did not give up. They kept their vision clear. And it might not come in a timely fashion, but you hold your vision for what you want and you do not settle. There was another story in the book where a couple wanted to redo a property. I don't know if it was a business property or a house, but they were like, they're like, universe, we want to redo this, but we don't want to pay a dime. This is a crazy story. So they go and they talk to like a contractor, and he prices it out, and they say, nope, that's too much, sorry. He comes back and says, well, you can finance, a loan, and and they're like, no, no, thank you. And they just kept saying no. They kept saying no. And I guess the universe jumped into the contractor's body, and the contractor was like, well, I'm really passionate about doing this for you, so I'm going to finance it myself so that you guys can get this up and running. And maybe you can share some of the profits with me. And they said, yep. They didn't pay a dime to get that place revamped. And they offered like a small percentage of what they would earn to go to him. And I don't even think it was like a forever thing. I think it was just like the first time or the first year or something. I don't know. They had like a little agreement, but they didn't spend a dime. So we can literally create anything. And hearing these stories, like right now, if you were to pause, take a deep breath and be like, I love listening to these stories that Michelle is sharing. If you like this is what you need to put in your ears all day long. Instead of watching Netflix, and instead of distracting yourself doing things that don't propel you in life, stop doing those things and start paying attention to the stories that you're telling yourself. Journal these shitty stories and then begin to change them. Rewire the brain and choose to listen to books, videos about this topic. Even if you have to hit play on my videos a couple times in a row, just to let it sink in that this is possible. You are all the co-creators of your reality. Let's start being that. Let's start really practicing it. I've been doing it in my world for the last 3 days, or last week. I practiced 3 days. I didn't want to share what I was doing until it worked. And I was saturating my mind with money comes out of thin air. Money comes out of thin air. I am always, and keyword is always, I am always receiving money out of thin air, because always indicates that it can happen any time of day and it can happen all the time. I am always receiving money out of thin air. And I actually added large amounts of money. And I've been receiving large amounts of money. It's pretty wild. So I'm not going to share all the details because I'm saving it for another video, but stay tuned for that. And like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff right now if you haven't already, because when your energy is matched with my channel, you are receiving these vibrations. You're receiving the same frequency that I hold. And if I'm creating magic in my life, that means you're absorbing that feeling and that energy every time you watch one of my videos and connect with my channel. And you're going to start creating that in your own life. So stay tuned for that video. It's going to be fabulous, but make it your mantra. I am always receiving large amounts of money out of thin air. Do it for 3 days and see what happens. It's going to be magical. Okay, let's start off our reading with a little Palo Santo, as we always do. I just said Palo Santo funny. Palo Santo. I feel like my energy's booming right now. Sorry if I talked super, super fast, but when I channel and I can't stop. All right. Archangel Michael. I love that. Archangel Metatron, please open sacred space. Please only allow the highest and whitest light messages to come through. Universe, talk to us. I'm in my universe shirt today. Can you guys see it? Super cute, right? I love the pink. I got my blue earrings in that my niece made me buy. All right, what messages does everybody need to hear for this full moon? We're going to do Louise Hay's Heart Thoughts book. My mind, my body, and spirit are a healthy team. The body is always talking to you. What do you do when you get a message from the body, such as a little ache or pain? Usually you run to the medicine cabinet or the drugstore and take a pill. In effect, you say to the body, shut up, I don't want to hear you, don't talk to me. We're kind of shushing the symptoms, right? This is not loving the body. When you get the first ache or pain, or the slightest thing seems to go wrong, sit down, close your eyes, and very quietly ask yourself, what is it I need to know? Listen for a few minutes for the answer. It may be as simple as get some sleep, or it may be stronger. If you want your body to work well for you for a long time, then you need to be a part of the body, mind, and spirit healthy team. And it says, good health is having no fatigue, having a good appetite, going to sleep and awakening easily, having a good memory, having good humor, having precision in thought and action, and being honest, humble, grateful, and loving. How healthy are you? And as I was reading the beginning part, I was thinking of the Law of Assumption, that book that I was reading, and how sometimes we're being brought situations like parking tickets or health issues, or we're being brought these situations to practice our magic. So if you have a health condition right now, one of the teachings that Neville Goddard talks about is revising the past. So say you had an injury back when you were 10 years old. Say you jumped out of a tree, you landed on your feet funny, and you hurt your back. Or maybe you had a car accident where you hurt your back. You hold this memory that you're always hurt now from that accident, but that doesn't need to be your future. You can shift that. You can talk to your body. If you have this chronic injury, illness, whatever it is, start changing how you're seeing it. Sit in your car, sit in your home, sit in your bed, and go back to that accident and imagine yourself landing softly. Imagine yourself not having to go to the hospital. Imagine the car accident not even happening. Imagine a bike accident. You're still on the bike. You never fell. You never crashed. It never happened. And really go back and just feel into that. There's 2 stories in Neville's book where he talks about people healing their bodies by doing this. They went back to an accident they had in their 20s, and they acted and relived it in their mind as if they had it going better than better than it went. So they retold the story in their body, and they did it enough until their body felt like it was real. So the best time to practice this is before bed, because whatever you are thinking about and saturating your mind with before you sleep is kind of what sinks into your subconscious, and the body will start to talk to you. As soon as you start to do this, you'll start waking up with less back pain. You'll start feeling more calm, and you're like, wow, like, wait, where did the pain go? And then you start to question it because you're like, wait, is this real? Is this really happening? And the 2 stories that he talked about in the book, his book's called The Neville Collection, Neville Goddard. I talked about it in one of my other videos, that video that I was sharing the stories about. And it's just story after story about people who are using their imagination to rewire their past memories. So even if it's something as child abuse when you were younger, maybe your parents didn't treat you so well, go back and imagine your parents loved each other. They came home every day with warm food, with money in the bank, and they never fought. And it was just really peaceful. And you sat by fires and like played games and watched movies. And, there was whatever normal stuff that happens in childhood, but there was no chaos. There was no trauma. Relive that kind of past and let your body feel that energy, feel that love that you didn't get, because what we're feeling right now is what we're creating. So during this full moon, if you're having all of these stories come up that nothing good ever happens to you, that's because you're still that little girl or boy from your past who's experiencing that nothing good is happening to you. It's because it was true back then. But that's not who you are now. You're different, you're grown, you're healed, you're changing, you're growing, but your internal story is still telling you that lie because it's not true right now. So we have to, in the present moment, go back to the past, rewrite it, retell it, and then put yourself in that feeling state to move forward so you can create better outcomes in the future and you don't keep recreating the same pattern over and over and over again, which would be an example of somebody who was an abusive childhood and now they're dating an abusive partner. They break up with the partner, the next partner they date is also abusive. It's repeating a pattern. And the only way to stop the pattern is to go back to the childhood, love your little inner child, hug them, thank them, tell them that they're safe, comfort them, and really relive that event and rewire it. Okay. So the body, this message to start off this reading is your body is talking to you. And this is an opportunity to stop telling your body stories that it's sick. Never say, I am sick. Never say, I have so-and-so disease. Say, there is so-and-so disease. There is sickness. Never say I am, okay? Because I am is putting you in the feeling state of having the thing. And we don't want to have those illnesses and those sicknesses. We want to rewire, okay? And I say okay all the time. Here we go. We're going to start with Angel Wisdom Tarot. And I just was looking into my charms bowl and I just saw the angel. I love the sound of those cards, the way they were just shuffling. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Sometimes Zoom cuts out the noise when I'm shuffling. Okay, 5 of Pentacles. This is somebody feeling without money. They're feeling lack. It says negative thoughts manifesting into real challenges. This is everything I was just talking about. Fears surrounding money. Reach out to others for assistance. Poor timing for becoming self-employed. I disagree with that. I think there's never a poor time for it. I think we are all capable of doing it if we believe we can do it. But this card is saying somebody out there is feeling your belief system around money is not good. And you're here, you're brought to this video right now to learn this. I am telling you, you are not a victim of your circumstance. You are the creator of your circumstance. So if you're in a financial bind right now, you have to sit there and think, what are the stories I'm telling myself? Everything starts within your entire life. Everything starts with your imagination, your thoughts, your stories. You know, for the next 10 hours, however you want the next 10 hours to be, that all depends on how you're feeling in this moment. So the teachings that I'm learning and what I'm practicing is in each moment, I'm asking myself, what story am I telling myself? What do I want to create? I would love to create a wonderful evening that's quiet. Maybe a couple new clients message me looking for some help and I can get them on my schedule for them. I feel inspired to create something that will help people. And instead of me just being a victim to my thoughts and not really being in control of them, I'm intentionally creating. Or I might be laying there and thinking of the dream house that I want to be in. And I'm imagining myself walking through the kitchen and grazing my hand across the countertop and telling the kids to be quiet, you know, and just really intentionally putting a feeling state into what I want to create for the next 10 hours. Because if I'm putting myself in a new home, the universe is going to go get to work for me. It might not come in the next 10 hours, but I'm putting myself in an energy to draw that in. So I might connect with a realtor in the next 10 hours. Somebody might text me and say, hey, oh my gosh, look at this house that just went on the market for me to go look at. And things will start to align. Anything is possible. But this card is saying somebody is letting their thoughts control them, their fearful thoughts, and you're creating struggles for yourself. And it doesn't always have to be money. It could just be in life in general. Are you creating chaos? Are you feeling like bad things are always happening to you? You're the creator of that. And I know that's hard to hear and nobody wants to hear that. And I don't like telling you that. But when I first learned it, I really had to look at myself and go, Michelle, what are you telling yourself? Why are you believing that? Why don't you think you're worthy of having wonderful things and people handing you checks and people taking you places and taking you on boats and doing really fun things? We are worthy of that. So now we have to put it in our imagination and start creating it. And we have to get out of this energy. Sorry if I didn't even show you guys the card. It's just somebody sad. And there's also a cat in this card too, which is like, speak your truth. You know, don't let, I just heard also, don't let somebody else who you're living with or who you're surrounded by, don't let their fears around money affect you. That might also be a lesson that you've attracted, because now you're being given an opportunity to practice your strength and conviction in your energy and your frequency. Sometimes I know I was placed in certain environments where everybody was negative and I was the only positive one in the room. And I had to learn energetic resilience. I had to learn to be the one who could stand in the space and shine my light without dimming my light. And you might be in an environment like that right now, and you might be called to not let other people's fears affect yours. Speaking of fears, I know I talk about this all the time, but it really is transformational. The fear course, Fear Alchemy, changed my life. It's changing all of my clients' lives. I'm literally sitting on Zoom with some clients, bringing the videos up, and we're going through it. There's fear of abandonment. So if you're struggling with feeling jealous or feeling like, oh my God, this person's not texting me back, and you feel sick to your stomach, or somebody you were just married to or dating, they're now dating somebody else, and you can't even deal with the feeling or the thought of them being with somebody else, you need to sign up for this course right now, because you will suffer with those feelings for the rest of your life. They'll just show up in different people, in different partners. Patterns going to repeat until you get to the root and pull out the root. And the way you do that is through fear alchemy. Alchemy is the process of pulling out that root. So there's the link is in the description box below. Go take that course. I think it's like $177, super inexpensive. Most courses are like thousands of dollars, you guys. You're seriously getting so much content and so much information. The creator, Ben Harris, is amazing. He's so sweet. He's gentle. He guides you through so that you don't feel stuck in your life, and you can have these healthy relationships and not feel bound by your insecurities for the rest of your life. Because we all know that feeling of feeling like somebody's going to leave you, or somebody's going to cheat on you, or you're never going to make enough money. Queen of materials, never going to make enough money. Nope. You're going to be the queen. Queen of materials is the queen of pentacles. She has all the abundance and growth in the world. Look at these roses too. They're beautiful. She's the queen. She's like, I can create anything with my imagination. All of you right now, I want you to really listen up. If a certain amount of money right now would bring you peace, we first have to have the feeling of peace before we receive the money. And that's possible. I've done this before. So what you have to do is you have to slide into your imagination and really feel like, okay, I don't have to rush so much. I don't have to, for me speaking, I don't have to create so much content to keep clients coming in. I can like relax a little bit. I can take a break for a day or two. I can maybe take a trip somewhere, like a day trip somewhere, and not really worry about money because it's just always here, because I have this certain amount in my bank account. And you start thinking about all the things that you can do and that you would do, and you're putting yourself in the vibration of somebody that has it. And you stay persistent and consistent with that thought and that feeling. And you do that 10 minutes every single day, maybe before bed, maybe when you wake up, and you're imagining yourself to be this queen who has what she wants and she's in it. She's living as if she is the person. And then you really start to talk like you're her or him. And you never, ever say, I can't afford, I can't this, never. Okay. You're always saying, maybe next time. It's not right for me right now, but maybe next time. Because whatever you say, you are telling the universe. And we're living in a time now that every single thought is creating a new reality for us. So be very mindful. I am actually really, really mindful of my videos now, because I've had a couple of scenarios where I would talk about something and then it would happen later in a video. And I'm like, oh man, maybe I didn't want that to happen, or maybe I did. So I have to speak with a lot of awareness, because what I'm putting out to all of you is magnified, right? And then you guys are taking that energy and you're applying it too. So now it's like all these ears are hearing what I'm saying, and that energy is getting amplified. So I have to be mindful that I'm always saying, I am so abundant. I can afford anything. I can wake up like a millionaire whenever I want and do whatever I want. And so can you. Put yourself in the end, okay? And think about the money that you want, right? I told you before, think about an amount that would make you feel safe. It's in your account. Now you're putting yourself in the feeling of being safe, having it, and just be persistent for 3 days. I am always receiving money out of thin air. I am always receiving money out of thin air. It feels so good to not have to rush through my life anymore, because now I can finally be calm. I have some time and space to create whatever I want to create because the money's there. I don't have to hustle because the universe provides. And you just continue saturating your mind like that and watch. Money will show up out of nowhere. I was watching a video the other day of a guy who did this for 3 days. And on the third or the fourth morning, on the fourth day, he had a friend who he used to do business with years ago. His friend messaged him and was like, hey, do you want to get in on this deal with me? I just need you to forward a couple of emails to this guy that you're connected with, and I'll give you 10% of the deal. 10% of the deal was $100,000. All he had to do was do a few clicks and use a contact that he had, and he made $100,000 in 4 days. Okay, so the universe will jump into people's bodies who knows that they have money or have opportunity to bring you a way to make money. So always, always, always be telling yourself a wonderful story about money. Because we just got 2 cards back to back. We have somebody without money and somebody who is uber abundant. So this is the theme for this full moon. Your thoughts are everything. And your feelings, because your feelings go along with your thoughts. Okay, we have Page of Inspiration. Yes. This is the Page of Wands. This is somebody newly on a passion journey. Look at these colors too. You guys, you know that they always match my outfits. Seriously, the cloud not my shirt. It's the same. But this woman, look at her hair. It's so beautiful. Is that another cat? All right, we have 2 cats. Somebody is going to be speaking their truth. They're going from a time of no money to maybe meeting somebody, building abundance together, and they have to speak their truth to get this started. Look at all this color. There's so much inspiration. There's so much vibrancy. There's so much like, yes, this feels right. Yes, we got to do this. And then we have 7 of Inspiration. I feel like this is an awakening energy. It's like this portal, right? Doesn't it feel like she's opening a portal up? And she's naked, sitting there with her head down. And she is like, it's almost like I just heard the universe is opening up this whole new life for you. You're going from the dark to the light. And it's a huge awakening. Somebody's going from this energy to this. And I just heard it's overnight. From dark to light overnight. And she is the universe doing it. Okay, let's get a card from my deck that I created, the Ever Unfolding Heart. Thank you. Oh, too many. Okay, pay attention to your dreams. Your higher self is showing you where you need to focus your attention. If it's a fearful dream, that is your ego, your mind. Listen for the soft, loving messages. Okay, so somebody's dreams are talking to them. Pay attention. I had a dream the other night that my mom it almost felt like she was in the spirit world and she was talking to me and she was like, Michelle. It was like a soft, like, but kind of loud, Michelle. And I woke up and I remember having the vision of her. I couldn't see her. It was just a voice. It almost, you know, that vision you have like when God is talking to you and it just sounds like a voice from the sky. That's what it felt like from my mom. And it felt like she was just like calling out to me. So I quickly woke up and I got scared. I was like, oh my God, did my mom pass away? Like I have to call her. And she was okay. But I found out that she was getting a lot of tests done and had some medical things going on, and she wasn't telling anybody. So my dreams were talking to me, and it wasn't fearful. Like when I first heard the voice, heard her, I was like, oh, my mom's saying hi to me. Like maybe her soul's turning on, maybe she's awakening. But it was crazy because I went to her house and talked to her, and she was like, yeah, I've been dealing with this. And I'm like, wow. And I didn't tell her, but I wanted to be like, your soul came to me in my dream to tell me to come check on you. So honor your dreams right now. They're giving you guidance on what you need to do and who needs you. Okay, let's do the Light Seers Tarot. And if you were wondering where this card came from, this was from the Muse deck. For those of you that are new to my channel, want to know where I get my cards, Amazon. Okay, we have one sticking out. Temperance, we're balancing. I just heard balancing the masculine and feminine energies. So if you are dealing with fear, fear around money, fear about not being good enough, fear of love, fear of abandonment, again, take that fear course. And that's going to help you balance the light and dark within you. We all have this shadow part of us that's coming up in these stories that we're telling ourselves that we're not good enough or nothing's ever going to work. We have to think about, where does that come from? There's a deep shadow aspect of us that really believes that we can't do something or we're not worthy of something. And the Temperance card is saying, yeah, you can do anything you want, but we just need to balance you out internally so that you're able to handle it. So if you were to think about right now, if you were to get that money that I had you think about earlier, would you be able to handle it? Or would you have fear when it arrives? Like, oh my God, I have all these choices to make. I don't know what to do with it. You know, what do I do at tax time? Like, do you have a story about when the money comes that taxes are going to be harder? Because now you have all these more things to deal with. Or are you very open and you're like, no, I believe that the universe will bring me the right accountant, it'll bring me the right lawyer. That's somebody who's balanced. They're like, it's okay, everything will work out. I don't need to have those stories, that fear coming up saying, oh no. We pause, we take a deep breath, and we say, I have this higher power guiding me. I don't need to worry. I'm balanced, I'm chill. And like I said, when we have our imagination and we're putting out what we want, we have to be patient to allow the lag time for the universe to bring us what we desire. So that guy who manifested the $100,000 in 4 days, he wasn't fixated on something having to come in 4 days. He was just saturating his mind with, I am always receiving money from thin air. And basically that's saying, like, you don't have to work for it. I'm always receiving money from thin air. It's laughable how much it happens. It's so fun. Like, I love being able to tell these stories. And that's the energy that you put yourself in. That's somebody who's balanced. They're not like, when's it going to come? I need this money right now. If I don't get this money, I'm not going to be able to do this. That's the shadow energy that you're being called to face this week. No more of the panic. When you hear the panic, you say, my ego is trying to figure this out because it's scared of the unknown. I'm going to rest with some temperance, and I'm going to sit there and say, I'm focusing on my thoughts. I'm going to sit into my imaginatory state, my imaginal acts. I'm going to feel into what it feels like to have my desire. I'm going to forget my reality for a little bit, feel into my desire, and I'm going to stay there. And I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to saturate my mind. And then when I have some thoughts that are not so great, I'm going to say, I am always receiving money out of thin air. I am always receiving everything I desire, the house, the person, the joy of going places and having things just happen for you. I know that me living in this apartment right now, it wasn't always easy. There was noise, there was chaos, and I have mastered my frequency and my imagination to the point where even I had neighbors above me, and I even posted on my Instagram. So those of you that are watching, you know that I've posted this, where my neighbors above me were so loud and they were super kind. It was just the floorboards are loud. And I was like, I think I need to move because it was interrupting my filming. And I just was so frustrated with myself. I'm like, Michelle, why would you pick a place that's going to be noisy when you know you're going to be meditating and filming? But we can create our reality. So I sat there and I said, all right, universe, please bring me the quietest neighbors ever. So quiet that I can't even hear them. Well, what happened was a couple weeks later, the two neighbors above me, they got married and they got pregnant, and they moved out because they needed a home for a second bedroom. And they moved in August. And guess what, guys? It's December, and that apartment above me has been vacant this entire time. I have manifested my neighbors moving, which I miss them, but it's quiet, and it wasn't their fault that it was loud. It was just the floorboards. And now, since August, there's been crickets, nothing. It's so lovely. So we can create anything in a balanced energy. But before I was balanced, I was a panicked girl, freaking out, beating myself up, going, why did I attract this loud apartment? I love my house. I don't want to move. I was not settled. I wasn't seeing that the stories, I was focused on the noise and not focused on how I could change it. And that's this energy this week. Whatever you are dealing with in your life, whether it's fear of money, whether it's a loud apartment, whether it's being at a movie theater and having loud people behind you, use your thoughts to imagine a better outcome and watch. It will happen. It is happening every single minute. You just have to make sure you're creating a really positive outcome. Okay, let's end with, and remember, I just had a thought about that book message. Your body will talk to you too. So what story are you telling yourself? Are you saying, oh my gosh, I have eczema, or I have this? No, I am just going to forget about it, and I'm going to focus on putting good food in my body and loving my body and thanking it and taking care of it. You completely dissociate from the problem because there is nothing wrong with you. Your body is an intelligence, and it will heal on its own if you listen to it and ask it, what are you trying to teach me? And I recently posted on my Instagram a book called Heal Your Body, and it lists all the ailments and then what the spiritual meaning is behind it, and then what the mantra is that you can use to rewire your brain and retell the story. It's an amazing book. Go buy it. It's called Heal Your Body by Louise Hay. Okay, final card for this reading. What do we want to do? What do we want to do? Let's do an animal card. And I just saw the turtle in my charms. Okay, the sandpiper, be playful. Okay, this week, get your bodies outside, go be playful, go do something like a little kid again, go to the park, get your favorite snacks, maybe go connect with people that make you laugh. For me, that's my nieces and my nephews. It's number 51, which adds up to 6, and 6 is the lover's energy. So this might also mean that you're coming into partnership with somebody that's very, very playful. I also just heard, when you get into this energy and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know where my life is going. I'm panicked. Money's not here. I don't know what to do. I just took a leap of faith. Whatever it is, pause, because you do not want to start creating in that energy. Your first step, this is a huge lesson right now. Everyone pause. If you are in an energy of fear, you have to stop what you're doing, stop thinking those thoughts, and you have full permission to forget about it for right now, okay? For the next 5 minutes, hour, 2 hours, give yourself permission to put it on a ledge and say, I'm not dealing with that right now. You're not running from it. You're not avoiding it. You're just in the moment. You're realizing that you're not in a good energy. And you're going to attract something that's not good if you stay in that energy. So you're going to stop and you're going to go do something that's playful. Or you can sleep. Sleeping stops all resistance. Okay? You must distract yourself. You must get out of that lower vibration. And when you rise to a playful energy of love and joy and having fun again and dancing, guess what happens? The solution to the problem that you're looking for pops into your mind when you're dancing, when you're with your nieces and your nephews, like it does for me. You get these inspired thoughts and this like idea of, oh, I can ask this person for help, or oh, I can move money from this account to that account, and that will protect us for a little bit. The universe will speak to you when you're in a playful energy. If you are in this energy, you're not going to get any messages from the universe or your guides or your angels. You're going to get messages from your ego. And then you're going to try and force your life to make change, to move, to create money in some way. And that cannot, you don't want it to come from ego and from panic and fear, because you're only then going to attract more panic and fear. So that's the biggest lesson on this journey, is when you're in your mind trying to figure out your life and you're stressed and you're full of fear and worry, give yourself 2 hours to put it on a ledge and say, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm going to go be playful. And I trust that I will get that inspired action or idea when I'm being playful. And I know for me, you guys, it's happened many times. There's been many times where I had like zero money in my bank account and I was panicked on the couch, but sitting there panicked on the couch doesn't do anything for you. You're not going to get the answer. You have to pause and say, okay, I'm going to go distract. I'm going to watch mindless TV. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to stop thinking about it. And as soon as you stop thinking about it, that's when it floods in. And then it's like, oh, I can breathe again. Because it's real. Fear is real, but it really isn't real either. Because you're creating a story of the future that hasn't happened yet. And what if something amazing happens? You could be creating that story. The feeling is real in the moment, but how can we stop, become aware of it, and move out of it? Okay, so go take that fear course. If this last message right now, you're like, that's me, I needed this advice, you need the fear course, because that will help you really notice what your story is that you're telling yourself and where it stems from your childhood. And then you can pull out that root and never feel that way again. All right, lovies, I hope you enjoyed this reading. Big full moon tomorrow. Rest, hydrate, eat healthy foods. If you feel a desire to eat heavy foods like potatoes or red meat or something, follow your body's nudges. That first message from that book that I read. Your body's talking to you. You have to listen. All right, lovies, I will see you in the reading on maybe Sunday or Saturday for the next week. Have a wonderful day. Peace out.